Well, for more on the NEC ANC media briefing, we're joined in studio by a reporter, that's Tumaole Mohlaoli. Good afternoon, Tommy, and thank you for your time on the News Today desk.
Always good to be here, Kashi.
Well, you're fresh from the ANC briefing. What are some of the key issues that came out of that conference, Tommy?
Well, some of the key issues was the ANC coming out of its NEC meeting and basically saying that paramount amongst its issues is the issue of the student protest, and the ANC basically saying that it supports the call by the students. However, the ANC warning against what it calls counter-revolutionary forces which crept in with the student protest, and basically decrying those and slamming those and saying that while the students and everyone in South Africa, broader society, has a right to protest and make their voices heard, people should guard against negative elements. We saw, of course, the trashing of buildings, police cars being burned during the student fees must fall protest towards the union buildings, and also calls for a government to basically step down, and the ANC saying this is very negative and does not do anything to mitigate the causes and the real root causes of these protests. So this was one of the main issues that came out, and also the state of higher education. The ANC saying that you know, with government taking a decision that fees won't go up in 2016, they'll basically stay the same, is basically not good enough. The ANC saying it feels for the students who are raising these concerns and saying that it's making education unobtainable for the large majority of the country's population. So the ANC reflecting on the year that has been largely. The ANC also looking at what needs to be done in terms of saying that less talk, more action. I think the ruling party very conscious that next year, of course, it's going to elective processes when it comes to local municipal elections, and we saw that the ANC going out to Bushbuck Ridge very recently, and promising to deal with issues, especially of water delivery and service delivery. They've
also announced that Mpumalanga will be holding an early conference, Tommy?
Yes, Mpumalanga will be holding an early conference. The ANC basically saying and warning against divisions deepening as the early elective conference comes in. They just reiterated some of the themes that were also highlighted at COSATU's elective conference, whereby the issue of money for votes is coming in, and saying that this will further divide and aggravate a situation where it is unheard of, where the divisions are so bad that it has to go to an early elective conference.
Countering factionalism within the ruling party and this sort of divisiveness also coming to the fore, perhaps, and boosting numbers of membership.
Yes, factionalism has been one of the issues that was identified as having decreased the numbers in terms of membership. People seeing factionalism and factional battles, which often turn very, very ugly, and the use of resources where people are basically block voting and buying of votes. This is alienating various members of the branches, ordinary members who don't have access to capital. The ANC speaking very strongly against that and saying that factionalism actually will weaken the party as it moves towards the elective process and tries to regain those municipalities which it has lost.
All right, this post-briefing coming on the heels of the COSATU National Congress, what's the response been like there, Tommy?
Well, the response there has been very strong in terms of the ANC saying to COSATU that it needs to stick or keep its nose out of ANC affairs. Of course, the rhetoric was quite different during COSATU's elective conference, with the ANC reaffirming its status as the leader of the tripartite alliance, but also calling for unity within the broader alliance. I guess the ANC and COSATU also coming from a recent history where the factionalism and the various battles, COSATU obviously dealing and reeling from the expulsion of Zwelinzima Vavi and subsequently the union that supported him. They just want unity now, and they feel that these particular factional battles might be a big no-no when it comes to the voters, because people feeling that the movement in terms of the ANC and the alliance very, very divided, and this might scare away voters to the opposition. We have seen a resurgence, not even a resurgence, just a really strong charge by the EFF in terms of targeting the youth vote. Many analysts have pointed out, and they had held their economic march quite recently, pulling out numbers that were really not seen before when it comes to opposition parties. This was something going strongly in the realm of COSATU's doing in the past, where tens of thousands of people on economic issues will be taken out to the streets. So these are all some of the issues that the ANC is conscious of and trying to plug ahead of next year.
Thank you, Tommy, for your time on the News Today desk. He's, of course, briefing us on the post-ANC NEC briefing that he's just attended.